promised and teased earlier, I am about to read a never-before-heard chapter from Fading Starlight. So I'm with a group of people. I won't show them because out of respect, I won't show them. But I'm going to let you all know just where we are in the book of Fading Starlight. So Fading Starlight, the chapter I'm about to read, is from the perspective of Melissa. She has a, what you might call an alien boyfriend, but will they, won't they? So the chapter starts out with two of them. His name's Clarific, by the way. The two of them kind of doing a perimeter check, kind of checking in with themselves. We haven't heard from them yet so far in Fading Starlight, so we don't know what's going on, but they'll tune into each other and they'll let us know momentarily. So I hope you're excited. Grab your cup of tea. Here we go. So it's chapter 12 in Fading Starlight. What is it? I murmured, untangling myself from Clarific. What's wrong? Clarific sighed, turning to look toward the setting sun. His dark lavender eyes searched the horizon, but he said nothing. The tingle from my lips still lingered. The calm peace that settled into my bones quickly evaporated. I was tired of living in fear. That was no way to live. I wouldn't let it stop me from living the little life I might have left. Clarific, on the other hand, had been on edge lately, especially after a small group of Tremortians had snuck up on us a few days ago. We handled it, but it still didn't stop him from jumping at everything. I couldn't blame him for his worry. I stood near him, trying to see what he saw. We'd been in the trees for nearly an hour, checking the perimeter for rogue Tremortians, until he decided it wasn't safe to stay much longer. We always Sorry, I'm going to take a little drink, C's. You know, I already told y'all I am thirsty as shit here. It is dry in Virginia. Okay, here we go, so you can actually understand what I'm saying. Okay, we also experienced a random false alarm about an invasion of the camp that didn't help things either. Tension was high, but we all dealt with it the best we could, moving along slowly. We were all assigned jobs and were expected to train when we weren't busy. It was chaotic with newcomers making their way to us, but it felt safer than hiding alone in a deserted apartment building. Flashback to Dawn Among the Stars, right? I enjoyed our perimeter checks because they allowed Clarific and me to be alone without the watchful eyes of my family. I could have gone on forever kissing his soft, full lips, forgetting a reality that didn't promise a future, but he would pull away too soon, like he did every time he thought he heard or felt something. If anxiety was contagious, he'd gotten it tenfold. Everything is fine, right, Clarific? I asked him, setting my gun down to lean against my leg. It's not another alarm, is it? I couldn't stand another false alarm like last time. I'm not sure. What do you mean you're not sure? I caught a few mumbles from his communicator on his armor. What's going on with your suit? Who's talking to you? Please keep your voice down. I will not ask you again, he commanded, his eyes losing their shine. His back was straight, but his shoulders were hunched in concentration. I opened my mouth, but closed it, thinking better of it. I watched him push another button or two while he strained to listen to whoever was talking on the other end. The taste of bile was growing by the second at the back of my throat. Is this another false alarm, I thought, trying to remain calm? Would we ever be ready for the real thing? We have to go, he stated, beginning again with clenched fists. Not until you tell me what's going on, I told him, folding my arms across my chest in defiance. We do not have time for this. He reached for my arm, trying to catch hold of me. I was too quick, barely missing his grasp. I outmaneuvered him enough to get a few feet away. I knew I could trust him. I never doubted his word, but I didn't want to be kept in the dark. He huffed, walking back to the house in defeat. It seems to me like you're the one wasting time when you could be telling me what crawled up your butt, I stated. He stopped. With a brow raised, he slowly turned to face me. Someone is trying to send our camp a message. Again, I asked, startled. What kind of message? It seems like a distress signal, he explained, but it's not clear. It could be anything, but I have the feeling they are trying to warn us about, well, I'm not sure. Warn us about what? I eyed him, confusion clouding my judgment. We already know the Tremortians are on planet. What else is there to know? He sighed. I don't know. But it did not say anything about them being on planet. The wrinkles around his eyes deepened as a mauve flush crawled over his face. The only part I could understand said something along the lines of, they knew. I looked at him, loosening my arms. What does that even mean? Who knew about what? Are you sure you understand the message? It makes no sense. His head snapped toward the direction of the farmhouse, off in the distance. Little fires burned around the home, while makeshift tents and shelters glowed in the last rays of light. It's gotta be about the Tremortians, right? I added after I tore my eyes away from the makeshift camp. What are you looking at? I don't see anything out of the ordinary, Claire. It doesn't look like anything is wrong. Plus, there's no alarm. I am positive it is something I need to speak with Ms. Benici about, he said, bringing his attention back to me. She needs to know. His eyes traveled along my body, his mauve flush darkening across his cheeks. The look on his face caught me off guard, making me forget the urgency of the transmission, too. What? I asked, feeling a familiar flush on my face. My skin burned under his gaze. You are so beautiful, especially in this light. I laughed. Everyone looks good at sunset, and candlelight, too. I'm not being funny, Melissa. You're gorgeous. The hidden light I held in my heart only for him smoldered in my chest, and the heat caused by my feelings radiated off my body. I knew he could feel it because in one step he was already enveloping me into a hug, his lips frantically searching for mine as he kissed the side of my face toward my open mouth. I kissed him back, leaning into his body, allowing myself to fall even deeper into my muddled feelings. I wanted to touch his skin, to feel every part of him, but his armor was thick, and the only part of him exposed was his neck, which I could barely reach. I did my best to caress his exposed flesh and dig my fingers into the hair that had fallen out of its binding. Clairfic unraveled himself enough to pull his lips away from mine, resting his chin on my head. We stood there, but our hearts beating and breaking the stillness of the night. We're in trouble, aren't we? I asked, squeezing him. What do you mean by that? He twirled a strand of hair gently in his fingers as he held me tighter. We're in the middle of the biggest fight Earth has ever seen, and here we are, you and me, making out like teenagers. He laughed, his voice echoing off the nearby trees. Did you not just tell me I needed to stop worrying so much? Yes. Then let me have this moment. He lowered his lips to the top of my head, sending shivers down my spine. I nuzzled into his shoulder, the fear of the transmission forgotten. Holding him was doing wonders for my nerves, too. After the events of the last few days, I realized I needed this as much as he did. His body tensed, and he lifted his head. Do you hear that? He asked, dropping the strand of hair. We have to go. That is the alarm. This is real this time. Not again, I breathed. It's probably nothing, just like before. I paused, trying to hear the silent alarm. I don't hear a thing, Clairfic. I might not have the hearing of a Lemurgeon, but the previous time the alarm sounded, I heard its warning. He didn't answer. Instead, he scooped up the gun and me, cradling me to his chest as he ran towards the house and the silent horn. God, not this again. Put me down, Claire. Are you sure? I can't hear anything. I fought him, trying to escape his grasp. When will you learn to trust me? The Timortians are here. They're attacking the house. And that's it. You gotta get the rest on June 17th. See you then. Bye.